Hey, can I tell you a simple trick to not giving up in life? You ready? You ready for this? Here is your simple trick for not giving up joy and guarding your hope when you're suffering. Here's the simple trick. You ready? Don't quit. I feel like the Lord spoke to me once through my therapist, multiple times actually. So you go to a therapist? Haven't in a while because I'm doing fantastic, but I have been many times. Where does it say therapy is bad in the Bible? I love Christianese, like therapy is wrong. Where does it say that? 2 Opinionians 2:12. It doesn't say that one time, like not once. In fact, it says in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. Like the more therapists, the more counselors, the better. But my counselor who loves the Lord said, start choosing meaning over happiness. Meaning, you have to stop looking for happiness and ease and things just to lighten up on you, and you need to start looking for meaning in everything you do. You might not feel happy doing it, but guess what? You know what I found over the months? Happiness started to follow when I stopped looking for it. Because when you lose your life, you save it. When you go after meaning, logotherapy, all the joy starts to follow. And you get this rich spiritual insight in the presence of God to realize you're never out of the fight. And that was Paul here in this prison. He realized he was never out of the fight. I really believe that even when you're like Paul in prison, you can have rich spiritual insight because the only limit you have is whatever you think your limit is. Did you know that studies show that people with self-discipline are happier? Studies show that people with self-discipline are happier. Why? Because with discipline and self-control, we actually accomplish more of the goals we really care about. So disciplined people are happier. Why does Jesus call us disciples? It literally means disciplined ones. Discipline your soul for rich spiritual insight. This 2 weeks ago, I got halfway through my study and I got to draw to a close because like we're struggling with time here. A couple weeks ago, this is gnarly. I have to share this very carefully. But I met a brand new friend, not this last week, but the week before. And he's an active Navy SEAL, so I can't say where I met him. You know, I've been on the road. Can't say who he is. I can't say what team he's on. I'm like, hey, let's get a picture. He's like, I'll fight you if you post this. But basically, I'm learning so much through my SEAL friends right now. Because here's a guy who went through Hell Week, and it was so gnarly for him that, well, I won't even share some of the stories because they're actually pretty gross. But there's this SEAL phrase, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And if you start going through your life, approaching everything that comes your way, you're just eating it one bite at a time. God, what do you want me to do in this moment? God, what are you teaching me through this situation? God, how is my spirit waking up as my flesh is dying through this routine? Lord, what are you speaking through this person? If you take every moment as it comes, you're eating the elephant one bite at a time. What happens is when you face all these adversities, you just walk up to each adversity, and speaking of Build-A-Bear, you just give it a big old bear hug, and you're like, I'm gonna rejoice even in prison. Joy, joy, rejoice in the Lord. We are hardwired for rich spiritual insight. And you start to control what you can, and you deprioritize what you cannot control. Paul could not control that he was in prison. So you know what he focused on? Build-A-Bear joy. Hey, can I tell you a simple trick to not giving up in life? You ready? You ready for this? Here is your simple trick for not giving up joy and guarding your hope when you're suffering. Here's the simple trick. You ready? Don't quit. How was that? You know Jocko Willink? He's like, when I was a SEAL, they made us carry our rucksacks. And he's like, I did not want to carry my rucksack. I did not want to carry my rucksack. And then he's like, so you know how I learned how to carry a rucksack? He said, I put on the rucksack and I started walking. There are not a lot of secrets here, friends. You want rich spiritual insight? Here's the simple trick. Don't quit. Here's the simple trick. Rejoice in the Lord. Paul doesn't even really tell you how. Because he knows you have Build-A-Bear powers. He knows you're hardwired for rich spiritual insight. For some, the greatest pain may be not knowing why they suffer. Suffering is often easier to bear when we understand its purpose. And when we're hardwired for spiritual insight, we start seeing purpose in our pain. We grow and increase beyond measure. There's a word in Japanese, Kaizen, for resisting the plateau of arrested development. Kaizen literally means never being satisfied with the status quo, never stop building, never stop growing in love, abounding in love, beyond measure. Its literal translation, Kaizen, is continuous improvement. So, by the way, New Year's resolutions, I love you if you set New Year's resolutions, but in my opinion, New Year's resolutions are for losers, because you're like, I'll do this in January. That's what you're saying. Because February gym memberships go away and career goals are lost and junk food comes out and the Bible gets dusty. It's a lifestyle. Every day fight a dragon, because dragons guard treasure. And if you fight these dragons, if you go for this rich spiritual insight, this knowledge, discernment, hearing the voice of God, even through your pain, which is a megaphone, it puts dirt under your fingernails. You're hardwired for this rich spiritual insight in such a way that it doesn't just give you Sophia, but phronesis. This is not abstract theology separated from the trenches. This is something that you can actually live out in your everyday life. The key to not quitting is to never forget that pain is temporary and quitting stays with you forever. Pain is temporary, but quitting is forever. Once you ring the bell, that's your legacy. Pain is temporary. Whatever you're suffering, just remember, this is finite. Whatever you're worried about, this is temporary. Whatever you're going through, this is ephemeral. Whatever you're enduring, this is transitory. Pain is temporary, but quitting is forever. So good. So you can quit and say, you know what? I'm in my prison. I'm going to give up joy. Or you can say, nope, I'm hardwired for rich spiritual insight. God, what are you teaching me? What's the knowledge and discernment you're endowing me with and bestowing upon me as I abound in love? Ben Courson here. Thank you so much for watching my new YouTube channel. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, share this video with all your friends, and hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. May the hope be with you.